we're here to talk about what actually the Senate is voting on right at this very minute. We're very excited with the passage of a piece of legislation regarding education in the state of Tennessee. With the passage of this piece of education, we are on the path of repealing and replacing Common Core. We're going to be replacing Common Core with Tennessee-based standards written by Tennessee educators, stakeholders, teachers, parents, and to the best of my knowledge, we will be making a program that is unique to Tennessee with the highest of standards for our great state. Without a question, we wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for all the members behind me, but I specifically want to point out that some worked tirelessly on this proposal. Representative John Fogarty, who's not with us, Senator Mike Bell in the Senate, and without a doubt, Representative Billy Spivey. Over the last several months, Billy has worked tirelessly on this, bringing a lot of groups together to, I think, accomplish what all the legislators behind me wanted to do. And again, that is to repeal and replace Common Core in Tennessee with Tennessee unique standards written by Tennesseans. And so with that said, I'd like to turn it over now to Billy, who will answer any questions regarding the legislation.
Great, thank you, Madam Speaker. And you can't iterate enough the tireless effort that went in, not just by myself, but from all parties involved. And there were three major points, and I'll be very brief with comment so as to leave plenty of opportunity for questions to be answered. But if you just read the legal jargon of the bill, it doesn't really reveal the things that it addresses as a whole. There were three major points that I wanted to make sure that got captured, that, you know, just saying we're repealing and replacing Common Core state standards in Tennessee, you know, otherwise you may not have even noticed. But number one, it not only did it repeal and replace, but it also did so in a fashion that honored and did not betray any of the other efforts in education that had already been set forth. A few of those being, especially to the LEAs, we're letting teachers and administrators right now they can move comfortably forward, confidently forward, setting their schedules, setting their budgets, knowing what the future holds for them, and not be in a state of turmoil that they may have felt in years past. Contractual obligations that we had, you know, at the behest of the General Assembly just last year, we had asked that park testing be readdressed, and so we set forth in an RFP process last summer, and we have a new assessment mechanism coming on forth, which was a sizable contract. It doesn't betray the spirit of that contract. The accountability piece, there's been a great effort with the administration and the General Assembly in recent years to instill some accountability in education with educators and LEAs, and so it honored all of those efforts. But last but certainly not least, the political realities that existed, and meaning that it's become, for many states across the country, it's become a political quagmire. And when we see the political situation in Washington, D.C. right now and across the country as a whole, we see this this perception that maybe government's not working so well. But this bill is a great illustration of how government can and does still work. There was a lot of attention given to the term epiphany when I had an idea on the House floor. And to that point, I had an idea and I took it to the governor and he made it better. And the governor's idea was taken to Commissioner Candace McQueen and she made it better. That idea came back to the folks you see behind me and others, and they made it even better. When I say better, I mean better in a way that not just the wording became better, but it became better in that it didn't betray any of these other efforts in education. So I think any time that we see an opportunity for government to actually work and function well, I think we ought to take the time to pause and acknowledge the fact that it did work and does work and can work. The third point, going back to when I mentioned other states across the nation, that Common Core state standards have become a political quagmire for many states. You see other states, repealing and not replacing, or, going back to an older set of standards, and it violate maybe a No Child Left Behind waiver, or hopefully some good news just walked in the door.
It is good.
Hello, Senator Bell.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm sorry I didn't look at the exact number, but I know we got 27 yeses, so I know it passed. I don't know what the other vote was. We did get 27 yeses.
If timing was ever good for a press conference, we scheduled this one right on time. So we now have it through the House and the Senate, and it will be transmitted to the governor for his signature. But to get back to the statement I was making about the political quagmire that Common Core state standards has become across the nation, I think what we've constructed, what we've arrived at, is a golden opportunity for this process to maybe be used as a template across the country for other states to weigh in and say, hey, maybe this is a way that we can address it. We can have a state standard. We can embrace the 10th Amendment, and we can move forward with something that instills the principles within the boundaries of our state while continuing to elevate the standards in education for the people that reside within our borders. So I think those three topics right there alone are the main thrust of why we felt the need for the press conference. Not necessarily the repeal and replace piece, which is vital to the people that we represent, but to these other matters that it addressed as well. As chance would have it, the good Senate sponsor just walked through the door, and Senator Bell, if you'd like to weigh in and on your experience.
I appreciate it, and I first want to thank the governor, and I want to thank Representative Spivey. I was able to carry the bill in the Senate, but Representative Spivey did the vast majority of work on this bill in negotiation with the administration and the governor, and I appreciate all the work you did, Representative Spivey, and all the other House members who helped you with this endeavor. I look forward to seeing what this process does over the next couple of years in developing Tennessee-specific standards, but standards that we're going to, through this process, assure are going to be high standards and make sure that our students are leading the nation in academic achievement.
Very well. And as has already been stated across many different lines here, from the legislative branch, executive branch, but the voters, our constituents, have weighed in. They were very clear that they expected something productive to take place. And there's been other outside groups and organizations that have been instrumental in trying to help this effort move forward and kind of setting the tone and setting the pace, sometimes in a way that rattles some cages, but sometimes some cages needed to be rattled. We have to, we need to be shaken up from time to time. We need people holding us accountable. And Americans for Prosperity has been one of those organizations. They've been instrumental into educating the public as to what Common Core state standards propose for the state. So without further ado, Mr. Andy Ogle with AFP.
Well, I just want to thank the legislature. I mean, if anyone ever questions whether or not government works, this is testimony to the fact that it does. And when moms and dads and teachers and voters of Tennessee come out, have their voices heard, the legislature will respond. That's what our founding fathers intended, and that's what happened here today. So whether it's healthcare or education or transportation, if the grassroots, if moms and dads and parents will get out here, have your voices heard, we can tell the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C., we don't want you in our state. We can manage it and run it better without you. Tennessee has been successful because of Tennesseans, because of the Billy Spiveys and all these legislators behind us. So again, thank you. Thank you to the House and to the Senate and to the governor for working with all of us to make sure that at the end of the day, this discussion was about students and about our classrooms being controlled at a local level. Thank you.
Now, if we can entertain questions now,